Reflections on 2020. As we settle into the new year, we're still trying to process what we lived through in 2020. We faced a global pandemic that has tested us in many ways we've never imagined. We've confronted racial injustice in America that has been ignored for far too long. And we have experienced a heartbreaking attack on the US Capitol. All of this comes at a time where domestic violence and human trafficking continues to be a leading public health crisis. During these difficult circumstances, WTLC provided support to hundreds of individuals, helping them navigate and manage their difficult times through the past year. Last year, more callers than ever before reached out to our 24/7 helpline number, and the number of our new program offerings more than doubled compared to the year before. We also saw tremendous virtual programming growth with over 2,000 viewers who participated in our new online Notable series and other virtual programming for the first time in 2020. Looking ahead, delivering key priorities. Let's start with our first. Successful delivery of all services in the safest way possible for the survivors in our programs. WTLC's programs have remained fully operational despite a tough year. In 2020, WTLC served over 1,500 survivors and their families. Survivors of domestic violence and human trafficking were some of the most financially impacted by COVID-19's negative effect on our economy. Last year, WTLC provided over $184,000 in direct financial assistance and gift cards to help survivors pay their rent, utilities, food, and other basic need items. In 2021, we're expecting that the survivors in our programs to continue to be impacted by the economy and plan on increasing our direct financial support by more than 25%. Our Bridge Housing Program provided 13,861 bed nights to 310 survivors and children in 2020, providing warm, safe, and comfortable housing as they escape abusive situations. Unfortunately, our housing facilities have been nearly at full capacity throughout the year. To minimize turning anyone away due to lack of space, we're looking to increase capacity by expanding our partnerships with additional motels and landlords. Additionally, we will soon begin a major construction project to transform one of our properties into a beautiful home in order to house more survivors. Our Supportive Services program provided 2,089 sessions of therapeutic individual and group counseling last year and helped 274 individuals address their restraining order needs, helping to ensure the survivors in our community could recover from their trauma in the healthiest and safest way possible. WTLC is also one of the few domestic violence human trafficking service providers that is accredited by the Board of Immigration Appeals. We helped 111 individuals with their immigration needs, providing support in areas such as U visas, T visas, and BAWA self-petitions. This year, we'll be focusing our effort to diminish barriers to services so that our supportive services can be more accessible to the survivors in our community. We also remain committed to helping prevent violence and abuse. I recently spoke with a person that had caused harm in the past after a virtual event that we both had attended. We had a good discussion on the challenges and issues that people who cause harm face and the lack of community support and resources available to them. In 2021, WTLC is increasing our efforts to help those who cause harm. Our goal this year is to increase the number of individuals who receive our counseling services for anger management and couple counseling by 50%. We're also on track to become one of the few nonprofit organizations in Orange County to provide the court-ordered 52-week Batterers Intervention Program that we hope to be used as a gateway to our trauma-informed supportive services. We've also initiated a new program, Healthy Masculinity. Our aim is to take boys and men on a revolutionary journey to redefine the teaching of manhood. This year, we will equip 150 boys and men with the framework to live into their full potential, to express themselves fully and confidently in healthy ways that open them up to the full human experience. After all, we truly believe that in order to end the cycle of violence, we must open our doors and provide our services to both the survivors and those who cause harm. Living up to our responsibilities. It's also our priority to continue to enhance our approach to responsibility so that survivors can receive high quality, inclusive, and trauma-free services at WTLC. We've consulted with various subject matter experts and invested in more than 85 plus hours of staff trainings to ensure that we're delivering our services in the most effective way as possible. For instance, this year, all of our advocates will be trained and certified in utilizing the SMCM, or Strengths Model Case Management. This model is recovery-oriented and evidence-based, aiming to help the survivors in our programs rebuild their lives in ways that, by their own definition, have meaning, purpose, and valued identity. Combined with our efforts of innovative services such as restorative justice, a state-of-the-art sensory room, and holistic programming, we're making a positive impact on the survivors in our community. This year, we're expanding our efforts to make our services even more accessible by working with new partners, including the Inland Empire Human Trafficking Task Force and the Santa Ana Family Justice Center. We remain committed to our social justice efforts, ensuring all staff and survivors feel welcome and can thrive at WTLC. One important area that we've identified is to look at our own policies and standards that are embedded with inequity elements that unintentionally favor those who are white, cisgender, and straight individuals. We hope to change this by elevating equity and promoting diversity. For instance, we will begin to explore a different approach in setting our compensation standard for our staff that is based on the livable wage needed in our community instead of relying on industry standards identified in compensation survey reports. Also, we will relook at our hiring practices, program guidelines, and organizational standards and make crucial changes that promote the celebration of diversity and minimization of inequity procedures. Building WTLC of the future. As we focus on the coming year, we're also excited about some big changes that will help better position WTLC for the future. Although our heart and mission to serve survivors of abuse and exploitation has remained steadfast for 45 years, our core values and philosophy on how we view and understand domestic violence and human trafficking have changed over time. We'll begin a process to reposition our brand to reflect our current value and identity so that we can communicate our vision more authentically. Also, we'll be engaging with an evaluation firm in a year-long research on our state-of-the-art sensory room. We hope to understand the effectiveness of using this innovative problem-solution approach to a survivor's recovery process and share this information within the domestic violence and human trafficking field. The legislative landscape. There's another area that will be a significant focus in 2021, and that's legislation. In the past, many advocates in our field raised issues on how coarse debt that is in a survivor's name but was caused by the person who caused them harm, can damage survivors' credit and force them into years of debt repayment, reducing their economic stability and leaving them vulnerable to future abuse. WTLC is working closely with the California Partnership to End Domestic Violence and State Senator David Min to support the introduction of a bill that would protect survivors from creditors and collectors when the debt is deemed to be coerced. This year and beyond, we will continue to advocate on behalf of survivors with policymakers both on the state and federal levels. In closing, we're all hoping for better days ahead. No matter what 2021 brings, our thoughtful planning, resolute perseverance, and committed dedication will move us forward. Thank you for your support to our work. Together, we are ending the cycle of violence.